welcome to 7 Minutes of Science with me, your host, Eddie Edwards. This is your weekly high-speed rundown of all of the top science stories in the world this week, coming to you from Mission Acceptable, in a week that brings us more news from the Rosetta mission, in addition to some interesting news about dinosaurs, and an example of time when science maybe got things a little bit wrong. So without further ado, let's put 7 minutes on the clock, and in 3, 2, 1, let's start. Okay, Monday, more Rosetta news. I'll stop talking about it when it stops being interesting. Regular viewers would be aware that last week saw the fruition of a decade of hard sciencing when the Rosetta probe finally landed a lander on Comet 67P. Now, even though the mission was a success, the Philea lander didn't attach itself to the Comet as the harpoons failed to fire, which meant even though we're getting data from the lander, we don't actually know exactly where it is. Well, it looks like we might have be closing in on its location. This picture shows a mosaic shot taken over the first 30 minutes of the probe's landing, shows it bouncing down the slope of what can only be described an ice mountain. I would say space mountain, but I don't want to get sued by Disney. Now, we still don't have an exact fix on the probe at this point. This points us in the right direction, though, and getting a look at the probe will give us a clearer idea if it's getting enough sun to the solar panels. But in truth, I just wanted to share a picture of a probe actually landing because I think it's cool as all hell. I also think that making the man who achieved this cry because he wore a shirt you didn't like is bullying and wrong. And if you're going to do that kind of thing, when the rest of us go to space, we should leave you behind. So, anyway, on to Tuesday's story. Yet more Comet news, with news coming out on Tuesday that the Philea lander has detected organic molecules in Comet 67P's very thin atmosphere. This information comes from the probe's Cometary Sampling and Composition Centre, or COSAC, which is being managed by Dr. Fred Gulsman out of the Max Planck Institute, which is responsible for essentially sniffing the thin atmosphere. What that sniffing has discovered is that there are carbon molecules, organic compounds in the air. They've yet to reveal which compounds. It should be noted that organic doesn't mean life. However, on Earth, usually when you find those compounds, they're in living forms because we use them to build ourselves and they get sucked up. But this does play into the theories about the comets being what brought these building blocks to Earth in the first place, when they brought water to Earth. So that's very interesting. Looks like the probe didn't get a sample of the ice itself, unfortunately. Drill did extend, did retract, but there's no real data coming through. More information on that as and when it comes out, but it looks like it just might be the angle means the drill didn't go in. So, Wednesday, space lightning! Sorry, I just wanted to shout that. Do you know where lightning comes from? Because if the answer you gave is like clouds and stuff, then yeah, broadly speaking, you're right. But if you give anything more complicated than that, the answer is you're probably wrong, because that we don't know. We know very little about it, but on this occasion they've done a bit more looking into it. Recent data seems to suggest that there might be a link between the angry sky stabs of Zeus and the sun god Ra, by which I mean lightning and the sun. See, the Earth's magnetic field should protect us from cosmic rays. When a cosmic ray does get through, it ionises a streak of the atmosphere down which current can travel. Now, it seems that when the Earth's magnetic field is bending towards the sun, in Britain, you get 50% more lightning strikes, which is definitely some sort of correlation there. This was work done by Dr. Matt Owens at the University of Reading, and it's very interesting that something's been around that long. We don't really understand it. Now maybe we've got some more information, so that's very intriguing to me. Thursday, this is one of those stories that I love to pieces. Science can often have unintended consequences. For example, putting lead into refined oil as a good anti-knocking agent, or introducing Freon to help with refrigeration. By the way, both of those, same guy. You'd figure he'd invented smoking. Although the person who did actually get American women to start smoking is also the person who's responsible for Americans' breakfasts being basically a sin. Who needs to whip butter? I'm getting way off topic. Oh yeah, unintended consequences. Sometimes at sea, marine biologists will tag fish with a beacon that emits an ultrasonic pulse so that we can track their movement. This is obviously calibrated so the fish can't see it, otherwise they'll be like, "Hey Dave, why are you beeping?" However, our instruments can track them, and now it seems so can seals. In addition to hearing this, certain seals have worked out that this noise is the aquatic equivalent of "come and get some dinner." This has been done under lab conditions, but it seems to correlate with some data that we already have about tagged animals and tagged fish not surviving as long in the wild as other fish. So this might be a case of having to take existing tech back to the drawing board. Friday, dinosaur news. If, like most people, you start caring about dinosaurs at around the age of 12, then you may not be aware of recent developments. In the study of fossils indicate that dinosaurs seem to have been covered in feathers. Meaning that we can chalk one up for Dr. Grant, but also so that the guys at Initech did a bad job of the cloning, because they definitely look more lizardy. Anyway, some recent research seems to indicate that the gene that causes featheriness actually predates the dinosaurs by some time. How much time? Well, This research seems to point towards those genes being part of the transition from aquatic life to walking on the land. So they predate dinosaurs by roughly all of the time. This is based on work by Craig B. Lowe and Julia A. Clark and team, and it actually makes an insane amount of sense, because if those genes are around for a lot longer, maybe feathers are around for a lot longer, and if feathers are around for a long time, then it seems kind of obvious that eventually they would have adapted to flight. In fact, if they'd been around that long and it hadn't happened, that would be weirder than the fact that it had. So that's kind of hinting towards a solution of something that's always mystified mankind. So that's an intriguing one. Where did flight come from on this planet? Apparently it came from the same place as walking. So that's cool. And finally, human beings aren't going to space enough. That's my opinion and the opinion of many others, but unfortunately it seems a vocal minority seem to keep us trapped here on this rock. So can't spend money on stuff like that. We need to go fight unwinnable wars in the desert with it. Those of us who are not from used to the future sat here, stuck here, stewing, can't really do anything about getting us off this rock. Well, now you can. It turns out that there is a new space mission being planned to go to the moon in approximately 10 years' time. Check out the poles, see if there is ice there that can be used for both water in both sustenance and hydrogen in rocket fuels and power. And it's not being run by a government. This is available. This is going to be a crowd-funded project. It's up on Kickstarter now. Genuinely mean this. You can kickstart a moon mission. At the time of recording, it's got 25 days to go. They are over halfway to the $60,000 that they need for the initial stages. And some of the perks are amazing. You'll be able to send a bit of your hair up there. Obviously not much use to me, but maybe some beard could be sent. But this is a really incredibly amazing thing. And if a little part of my body can live somewhere that UKIP isn't, that'd be great. Okay, and finally, new information from researchers working at CERN seems to indicate that they've discovered 2 new subatomic particles. These particles are called, I'm going to put them up here, because I don't even know if there's a proper way to pronounce that, but if there is, I ain't got a clue what it is. Now, these are both baryons, and they're made up of 3 quarks, bottom, down, and strange, which sounds like a Dickensian law firm, and were originally predicted by Randy Lewis of York University and Richard Walshin of the Triumph, which is Canada's particle physics lab in Vancouver. This is all very cool and groovy, even if the 2 particles only exist for a few fractions of a second. However, the coolest part of this story is the reaction by Randy Lewis. He said, and I quote, "I saw the title and thought, oh, I predicted those. I wonder how it turned out. I looked up their numbers and said, yeah, that looks like what I predicted. Great." And that's an awesome reaction to have to that kind of thing. And under 7 minutes, I'm getting very good at this now. As always, thank you for watching. If you do like the show, like the show. If you think somebody you know might like the show, share the show. And if you want to see more of what we're doing here, please subscribe to the channel. We have some other videos coming up. I have a Let's Play of FTL, which is a really good little space game. If you're interested in watching, we should have that over this weekend. We've got another one coming early next week, which is me and the other guys who work on this channel who you haven't met yet, playing dive kick against each other. That's a lot of fun as well. I'm going to be recording a couple more Let's Plays today. So hopefully we'll have some more gaming stuff up if you're interested in that kind of thing. And if you are, do please check it out. But until next time, good luck in your endeavours. If your endeavours be good. Goodbye.